welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on news up at Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're streaming live on Facebook at 3FM 927, also on 3FM 927 on X. I am Alfred Ocansey.
My name is Beatrice Adu.
This evening here on Hot Edition, the latest coming through with respect to the Labour front sharply divided over decision to go on strike as Ghana Medical Association opts out of the industrial action. But the Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bento, says organized labor must walk the talk or the country will be at risk. We have details of that shortly. Stay with us.
Also coming up, the government's 5-member ad hoc committee holds a crunch meeting in a last-minute ditch effort to avert a shutdown by Labour.
This evening here on Hot Edition, the proponents of the anti-LGBTQ plus bill leads hundreds to protest against the Chief Justice Gertrude Tukono over the delayed hearing of the cases against the bill. We have details of that as well here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 and Remenio Election Command Center on campaign trail. Today we'll tell you exactly what the MPP and the NDC have all been waiting in and talking about this matter of illegal mining. The movement for change is also on its nationwide tour. We'll give you an update of that shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And in the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, we have the latest in business and in sports as well. And we have the summary of the news. Now, Safwa Boahene, what do we know?
Thank you, Alfred, and welcome to the news summary segment. Now to the first story. Ghana's public sector is facing a potential shutdown in less than 48 hours unless the government meets the demands of organized labor. The unions have announced their intention to proceed with industrial action despite the government's claim that it has demonstrated sufficient commitment to address an illegal mining. The Office of the Attorney General has once again opposed a bail application filed by over 20 anti-Galamsey protesters. This comes despite Accra High Court previously granting bail to some of the protesters and the Attorney General himself previously stating that he would instruct his officers to consider bail during the hearing. Also, the Ghana Medical Association GMA has announced that it has not declared a roadmap for any industrial action. In light of this, the GMA urges all members to continue providing full services without interruptions. However, the GMA expressed its solidarity with organized labor in the ongoing fight against illegal mining, commonly known as Galamsey. Co-sponsor of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, Sam George, has called out Chief Justice Gertrude Tukono for deliberately delaying the hearing of the anti-LGBTI plus bill brought before the Supreme Court, seeking to prevent the president from assenting to it. The protest aims to put pressure on the judiciary to expedite the hearing of the cases. And now to our last story. The Electoral Commission, EC, has denied claims by the National Democratic Congress, NDC, that the commission promised to release the revised provisional voter register, which is a PVR, within a week following the televised Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting held on Tuesday, October 1. According to the commission, at no point in time did the chairperson, Jane Mensah, indicate that the revised PVR would be available within a week after the meeting. And this brings us to the end of the news summary segment and over.
Thank you very much, Safwa Boahene, and let's bring you the details of our stories. We're still talking about the illegal mining issue, and 3FM is learning that the 5-member ad hoc ministerial committee on illegal mining is meeting to deliberate on a number of issues. This is coming at a time the Interior Minister, Defense, National Security Minister, and the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. So this is actually now, the committee, since its establishment, has engaged in a number of meetings with stakeholders to assess the government effort in combating illegal mining activities, commonly known as Galamsey. The move comes as Galamsey has gained a widespread notoriety, prompting demands from various unions and associations for the president to declare a state of emergency to tackle the issue. We are also learning that the government intends to introduce very radical measures, including began directing soldiers and other law enforcement agencies to flush out illegal miners from water bodies and forest reserves, which remain red zones to mining activities. Now, remember that as part of the measures, the president has also directed that immediate steps be taken to revoke the Environmental Protection, that's Mining in Forest Reserves Regulation 2023, LI 2462, when Parliament reconvenes this month. The government also intends to deploy soldiers to these areas as soon as possible. We're keeping an eye on this meeting and we're bringing you more, but also more on this is the crucial strike by organized labor, which is starting on Thursday, October 10, less than 48 hours to the industrial action. Organized labor appears divided on whether or not to proceed with the planned action. This comes as some unions opt out of the strike, and the Ghana Medical Association has directed its members to remain at work.
And in fact, staying on that, we have a statement from the Ghana Medical Association that dropped not too long ago. It reads, the Ghana Medical Association has not declared a roadmap for an industrial action. Therefore, all members are expected to continue providing full service without interruption. The Ghana Medical Association, however, is in solidarity with the organized labor in the fight against illegal mining. The National Executive Council will give further information when necessary. This is a statement signed by Dr. Frank Sebo, the president of the Ghana Medical Association. In fact, when this statement came through not too long ago, a number of you have been reacting to this. We'll get into the statement and also some of the reactions from you as well as we go on here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. But if you go on our Facebook page at 3FM 927, we have a copy of that statement right there detailing that's the Ghana Medical Association's position on this organized labor strike in the next 2 days. They've indicated their members should not take part in the strike. And we understand as well that the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association will be meeting later tonight to discuss a roadmap for the strike. The leadership of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOCSAC, is also in a crunch meeting as we speak. Meanwhile, members of the University Teachers Association of Ghana have started voting across the number of the universities across the country. Stay with us on this one because we have the results of the University of Ghana UTAG, which voted 80% in favor of the strike and 20% against the strike. So University of Ghana UTAG has voted unanimously to support the strike beginning Thursday, October 10. Let's bring in Professor Mamadou Akurugu, who is the national president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana UTAG. He's joining us on the telephone. Professor Akurugu, thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yeah, thank you, Alfred, for having me.
First off, so can you confirm this for us, that apart from the University of Ghana chapter of UTAG, the voting on whether or not to go on this strike on Thursday is happening across all the member universities of UTAG?
Yes, I can confirm that all member universities voting is ongoing, and I think by now it's past 5 p.m. Voting would have ended. We've already received results for 8 campuses. The lowest endorsement is about 70%, and we're looking at between 70% and 90%, over 90%, the results we've seen so far. So we believe that in the next 30 minutes to 1 hour, we should have the full complement of the results. But we already know that there's a massive endorsement of this action.
I see. You've received 8 universities' results, and the lowest approval, that's percentage, is 70%.
Yes,
in favor of the strike. So essentially, which universities are these, the 8? Are you able to run through this for us?
We've received from the University for Development Studies, University for Media, Arts and Communications, the CKT, University of Technology and Applied Sciences, the SDD, University of Business and Integrated Development, the University of Cape Coast, the University of Environment, Sustainable Development, the University of Ghana, and the University of Nigeria. So we've seen these results so far. Other results, but these are the ones we have received so far.
I see. And all of it, between 70 to 90% approval that UTAG go on this strike on Thursday, October 10.
Yes.
I see. Now,
But it's an approval, there is an approval as to whether UTAG should declare the industrial action as the organized labor directive. And so, by our constitution, once we get the results, the National Executive Council will convene a meeting and then take the decision going forward.
And I'm sure that meeting, with all things being equal, be tomorrow.
Yes, please.
I see. But you're confident that all the member universities would go on this same path?
Very confident. Yeah. So from what I'm getting from my colleagues across the campuses, I have no reason to think that any campus will do otherwise.
I see. And 8. So how many more are we expecting in terms of the...
We're expecting 7 more.
7 more. So that's 15 in all.
Yeah, 15 in all.
Okay. But does it concern you, for instance, that, I mean, as a member of the larger labor union, that's TUC, you have other unions now coming out to indicate that their members should not take part in this strike?
Well, I think the release from the Ghana Medical Association says that they don't have a roadmap yet. And I take that to mean that it's not the case that they are not interested in joining the strike, but there must be a roadmap as an association as to how to go about it. And I guess it's what they have not yet developed that they are saying that, okay, maybe their members should wait. When they develop that, then they will communicate accordingly. But be as it may, I think that there are still many other things to be done. And as they indicated, they stand in solidarity with whatever action is going to be taken. And we see how it goes. Who knows? Maybe we still have about 48 hours to go. Maybe by tomorrow, by Thursday, they would have developed their roadmap and the communication could change. So anything is possible.
I see. Anything is possible. And maybe quickly, before I let you go there, I've just got a message from one of our listeners indicating that, well, the universities are not in session. So the impact of your strike may not be as biting as, for instance, Ghana Medical Association. So it would be a convenient decision for UTAG to take as against essential service providers like the Ghana Medical Association, whose strike would also have a telling effect.
Well, we know that the academic year starts in September. The students were due to report last month. Because of the strike of, I think, 3 of our associations, the administrators, the senior staff, and then the junior staff, that led to the postponement of the strike. The reopening of school. And so it is not entirely correct that students are not in school and therefore our strike will not bite. In any case, we believe that we are not only into teaching. The UTAG members have 3 mandates. We have our research mandate, we have our teaching mandate, and we have our community service mandate. So teaching is just one of the mandates. And as I said, students were due to report. And as we talk, if GAWA and the senior staff and the junior staff call off their strike, it means that immediately the students were expected back. So if they are expected back and UTAG happens, or even those other unions, I believe they happen to join the strike, then what happens? It means that the academic year will be would be distorted. So I don't think that anybody should feel that because students supposedly are on the holidays, our strike will not bite, and therefore the government shouldn't do what we are asking in conjunction with organized labor to happen. So that would be a miscalculation, in my estimation.
Dr. Akudugu, thank you so much. We'll wait for the results of the other 7 so we know the full complement of the UTAG position on this strike. I appreciate you as always.
Thank you so much for having me.
Professor Mahmoud Akudugu is the national president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG. 8 out of the 15 universities have so far voted, and all 8 between 70 and 90% approval of UTAG's participation in the TUC, that's Organized Labor Strike, to take effect on October 10.
Let's also bring in Professor Smart Sapon. He's political analyst and a member of TUTAG, Technical Universities Teachers Association. Okay, I'm just learning that we've lost him on the line, but we'll bring him in and also find out whether or not TUTAG is on the same course as the majority of organized labor to embark on this strike from the 10th of this month.
It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. And Professor Masapon is back.
All right. Good evening to you, Prof. If you can hear us, thank you for joining us.
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Prof, can you confirm for us whether TUTAG members voted on whether or not to proceed on the strike, expected to start from the 10th of this month?
Not yet. Not yet. Hopefully by close of tomorrow, I'm sure many campuses would have taken decisions at that level. And then the National Union would have to meet and then put together the views from the various campuses. And I'm sure the outcome will be made known to the general public.
I suppose there have been unofficial conversations going around there. What do you pick in terms of information as regards whether or not you would join this strike declared by organized labor?
Well, there were a series of strikes around the time we were converted from Polytechnic to Technical University to press home many of our demands. We call them parity of work. So we do the same work as our brothers in the traditional universities, and we needed remuneration that collaborates with that work we do. And there were a lot of series of strikes. We were advised around that time that when it is inching to election, strike should be the last option for us. And so many on campuses that I've spoken to are thinking that we are confronted with a similar situation where strike should be deemed as the last option. But then there are equal number of people, others who also share a different view that we should go in line with the position taken by organized labor. So the views are being collated. Hopefully by close of tomorrow, we'll put them together, and I'm sure the majority would decide.
Majority will decide, you say, but you're also wearing 2 hats. You're not just a member of TUTAG, you're also a political analyst. Do you think mining will be a key issue going into this year's polls? I know we've had other, research or surveys done that say otherwise.
Yes, some time back, around this time, agri could have been the most topical issue going into elections, some 3-4 elections back. Now, we all admit that the concentration on agriculture, even though it's still relevant and still exists, is giving way gradually to mining. The recent growth indicators suggest that mining was the single most important factor that led to our recent growth. And so mining has become extremely important in gross domestic product estimation. So it tells us that, yes, previously we were saying Ghana was an agrarian economy. Now we can say that gradually we are becoming a mining economy, even though agri has not been subsumed by the activities of mining entirely. So once it has become a very significant factor, I am sure politics would definitely want to feed from there. Politicians will want to feed from there like the way they were feeding from agri. And so it has become a very dicey issue. Political parties seem to be friends of miners, would benefit politically. Political parties seem to be enemies of miners. I mean, in quotes, not like enemies, but like anti-mining, would also suffer some way somehow. And I mean, we cannot play ostrich with this. It is what it is. And 2 months to election, the politics of mining is in. And so, whereas the situation is very genuine, we need to do something drastic immediately to help salvage the situation with regards to our waters. I am sure politicians or stakeholders are mindful of the political gain or losses that they are likely to suffer now that mining has become a very key factor or issue towards this election.
Indeed, and that's why I want to return to this conversation about TUTAC's decision. The deadline is the 10th of this month. Are you able to tell us when you think your group is likely to have a decision on this ahead of this day?
Oh, hopefully by close of tomorrow. Hopefully by close of tomorrow. I've taken indications that there will be an emergency congress somewhere tomorrow in the evening. So hopefully by close of tomorrow, I'm sure our position will be shared.
Thank you so much, Professor Smart Sapon. I have to end it here. Political analyst, also member of TUTAG. Meanwhile, the GPRTU has voted to join the strike, and this would have a major implication for members of the public who rely on public transport to commute. Let's speak to Industrial Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Alhaji Imor Abbas. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for calling.
Obviously, a number of people are talking about the need for us to end this menace of illegal mining, but GPRTU in particular, why have you decided to be part of this strike declared by the Mother Union?
We have not decided to join. We are member of the organized labor. As such, any decision taken, we are with any decision and we are part of it. So we did not come from somewhere and decide to join, but we are a member of the organized labor. As such, any decision taken, we all took it together. So we have to take part of any decision taken.
I get you, but you also do understand that there are certain members who are not in agreement with what is happening, and therefore they are not necessarily saying that they are going to go on strike. That's why I'm asking you that question.
Do you believe they are members of organized labor and they are not politically motivated group of people?
You think those against the strike are politically motivated?
I'm asking this question because what did organized labor say? They say those who extract these minerals are now poisoning the water bodies. They are destroying the reservoir. So please, those in charge, kindly put a stop to it. Is this something that excuse my language, anybody who thinks very deep will say, oh, you are not speaking sense, or what you are saying doesn't make sense, so I won't be part of decision taken by my union or my organization? I mean, the answer is no. Yesterday, I granted an interview to a particular press when finally the man was asking, after the mining is not taking place in Accra, why are we embarking on strike? And I said, so if health professionals have come out to say the components they are using to extract their minerals is poisoning the water body, and the water travels so many kilometers ahead of as long as it can slope. So should we wait till Accra will start dying before we fight to defend ourselves? How can a dead person defend himself?
And that's why you're saying that those who are against this strike or not in support of it are
exactly why I'm asking that question. Yes, because nobody will understand if organized labor comes out and say, oh no, those responsible to protect our water bodies, those extracting minerals are poisoning the water bodies. So please, kindly do something about it. Health officers have already come out and report about the damages it's causing. So under normal circumstances, who will come out and say, oh no, although you are making sense, I'm not with you.
Are you able to tell us in what shape your strike, for instance, would take?
It will be unfortunate if those responsible will allow us to test the powers we have. Nobody is going to ride his or her transport nationwide. So meaning, if they allow the strike to go on, we are going to hold the whole nation to ransom. That is where the unfortunate situation will come from. And if those responsible make mistakes, to allow us to try and exhibit the powers we have. I'm sorry, the next time that will come out again.
Where the powers
So
you
those-
have means what? Parking all your cars at
To
home?
allow us to exhibit it, to hold the whole nation to ransom. The next time we are looking for something, we will see how responsible or how powerful we are. We will use the power we have.
So, Ms. Amira, just my last question, just trying to get clarity. You're going to park your cars at home and you will not move for anybody to move from one location to the other?
Not at all. This is exactly what is going to happen.
Oh, and it here. Thank you very much.
Which will be unfortunate.
Thank you, sir. Alhaji Imur Abbas is the Industrial Relations Officer of the GPRTU.
So live here on Hot Edition. Let's say a bit further on this matter because Labour may not present a united front as far as the strike is concerned. Therefore, what we're picking up is that there's been this dissenting views as we're seeing right now. The GMA, for instance, summarily be aware, now has voted to remain at work. Can this decision affect the morale of the general membership of Organised Labour? The Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bento, says he's disappointed that President Akufo Addo said all the right things about dealing with illegal mining, but ended up doing all the wrong things. Speaking on Agenda on TV3 with Beatrice Adu, Kofi Bento said that it's time for Organised Labour to walk its talk regarding its intended industrial action, or the country will be at risk.
Giving all their power and representing a wider society is not able to get our governments to do what is right, we are risking our whole country because people are going to take the law into their own hands and try to do what they need to do to save this country. We are already in a state of emergency. I don't know why he will not do it. Indeed, the president has a few months to go. I don't know what the cost of this will be to him. And yes, I've said it publicly that I'm disappointed. This president said all the right things and proceeded to do all the wrong things. I'm quite disappointed in, how he's handled this thing. And I can't, for the life of me, understand why he would hold off, declare a state of emergency, which is a fact. We are in a state of emergency. And I think he should declare it. I just don't know why he won't.
That's Kofi Bento there. Now, let's remind you that illegal mining, Galamsey, poses a threat far deadlier than COVID-19 if immediate action is taken to stop it. That's according to engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, describing the situation as a genocidal threat. Kenneth Ashigbe warned of irreversible damage to Ghana's future if the Galamsey crisis is not addressed. He made the remarks at an event organized by the CSO's platform on SDGs, urging swift government intervention to prevent a disaster worse than the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think His Excellency the President demonstrated great leadership when we're dealing with COVID. The crisis we're dealing with is worse than COVID. The situation where renal diseases are on the rise. The situation where you now have a lot of spontaneous abortions that are happening. The situation where you have babies that are deformed very brutally. And they do the postmortems out of that. There's one baby that was born with 4 lower limbs and 2 hands, so that's 6 limbs. The level of heavy metal that was found in the bone marrow of that baby. There are 2 young men in Bekwai currently as we speak. They've suffered from heavy mercury poisoning to the extent that putting food in their mouths is a challenge. Apart from the fact that you've destroyed all the water bodies so most of these inland fishers and those who trade in the fish have lost their jobs. Apart from the fact that now Ghana itself, we borrowed money for cocoa, but because of the inavailability of water to spray our cocoa, that money was returned. The fact that you have the lowest level of cocoa production output as we speak. The fact that now China is engaged in production of cocoa And by far, it is an established fact based on empirical evidence that the foreign elements that are involved in our galamsey, majority of them are the Chinese. And so nobody should run away from that. Those are facts that we need to confront. That you've destroyed your inland water bodies. Now, where are local fishers who do not have money to buy outboard motors go to fish at sea? There's no fish there again because the estuaries, you've polluted that water again. So you are a people who are poisoning yourself. It is said that when you go to war and you poison the water of your enemy, it's one of the gravest war crimes you can commit. So what do they say about Ghanaians who self-poison themselves?
Dr. Engineer Ken Ashigbe there now declaring their support to the impending strike by organized labor. Co-chair of the CSO's platform on SDGs, Beauty Emefanate, noted the unchecked rise of illegal mining is a major threat to Ghana's ability to meet its 2030 SDGs and other critical international benchmarks. Going to give you details of that shortly here on Hot Edition. But let's say a bit further with this existential threat that we're faced with now. And Austin Game is a labor expert. He's joining us on the telephone. Mr. Game, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I hope you're well too.
Amazing grace.
Perfect. It's not so much of amazing grace for the labor front as we're seeing now. More of a disorganized organized labor front as we see it, because unlike what was expected to be the case, that they were going into this Thursday, October 10 strike with a unified front, a number of the unions are now coming out to declare that their members should continue working on that day, October 10, the Ghana Medical Association being one of the most topical. I want to find out how this strikes you.
Thank you. I don't think the case of Ghana Medical Association is entirely surprising. I think originally Ghana Medical Association and other health sector workers came out long before organized labor itself came to group them together for what we are discussing now. So they were committed, they are mindful about the consequences, and even at organized labor's own meeting, among other things discussed, was to allow Ghana Medical Association to continue working until the intransigence of government becomes real. Then they will start with OPD and move on. So I negotiate for a number of people working in the health sector and manage them, and therefore I am privileged to be informed of the outcome of the meeting directly. So clearly what it is that we are all playing it safe, but there are other government organizations and even some private ones that will be going, and if they go, even if the transport sector alone go, it can cripple the whole economy in one way or the other. So it's not it's about being strategic. I don't think organized labor are disorganized. The disorganization that is in some of the regions, and even that calculatedly, is because the government want to divide the people because of the what is ahead of them. And this should be a major lesson, not only to organized labor, but to the entire Ghanaian populace. We are almost about being exposed to untimely death, sickness and diseases that hitherto somebody may not contact. And now you are confronted with it. And the government had given an indication that they want to do something about Galamsey. Those who have that illusion in their minds that there is a plan to do something about the Galamsey, clearly now there is enough evidence to show that it is not that a certain opposition or a certain labor union or somebody, an individual person, want to thwart the efforts of government. It's deliberate, very, very deliberate. They are doing it for political reasons. So, because they think that the 500,000 or 1 million votes that they might have in the past is because of the openness they have with the Galamsey people. I don't think it will work this time. So, it's up to Ghanaians to decide what to do. But I am so much worried, and I'm disappointed in my namesake and friend, the president, for not supporting Ghana as the executive president to whom we all lean onto, physically speaking. So people should be worried, and I'm worried too.
I see, and I'm sure that's why organized labor, as worried as they are going on this path. But that sense of disappointment, well, the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations outlined some measures. They say that government is running around and also ensuring that they meet certain demands by labor before Thursday. Also, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources say there's a crunch meeting amongst the 5-member interministerial committee to as it were, try and meet the demands of labor as well. So does that not send any signal of that renewed commitment or the effort to try and meet those demands?
Well, if they will meet it, fine. Then that is because of the pressure. And so if I were to be the working people, who is in Ghana here that do not drink water today? Who is in Ghana that do not need herbs from our forests for healing and for sustenance? Who is that? Who is that person? Who is that individual in Ghana here that do not need to drink water that he can be assured of not contracting disease and sicknesses? Who is that person? So I am disappointed in all those who are trying to position this matter as if it's a political issue, as if it's not even political, as if it's a partisan political issue, as if it is a regional issue, as if it belongs to MPP and a certain party. I don't think so. MPP members will drink water tonight, and some of them may die. Some NDC people, some Afafanto people may drink water tonight and may suffer. So it's not about somebody wanting to find a solution and somebody do not want it. They should find a solution immediately at once. That's what it is. We don't need people to be, buying time. It's not about buying time. Is the pollution that's going on now? It is. Let's stop it. I am for, and me alone, without even organized labor, me alone, I will also go on strike, me alone. And my strike is about ensuring that we ban completely all forms of small-scale mining and any form of mining at all other than the large-scale mining that do not hurt the system. We all know that. Because they will not be irresponsible in polluting the water as we see it today. But people are hiding behind community mining. People are hiding behind small-scale mining, so-called legal licensed ones, and are creating mischief in the country. And all those who think that this is fetching money for the country, can money buy your life? Can money make you become well? Many rich people have gone to hospital, took the best medicine, and they die. Is that the way we want it to go? Those who will die will die. But I think that we should be very, very careful in this country. Galamsey is a daredevil that the Satan has unleashed upon us now, openly. And I think that those who are wise should wisen up now. And we should not support this kind of situation at all, for any reason. If there is somebody who wants to vote for MPP, go ahead and vote for MPP. If you want to vote for another party, go ahead and vote for them. Don't hide behind Galamsey. I urge everybody who wants to vote for them, let them go ahead and vote. But why do we have to drink such terrible water and we are comfortable and making noise and defending it as if we haven't been to class 1 before? What kind of illiterate nation is this?
Quickly, before I let you go, we just received notice from the Ghana Industrial Holding Company, that's GIHOC. The managing director, Maxwell Kofi Juma, is warning the staff at GIHOC that any one of them who partakes in this organized labor strike will be sacked. That's the notice from him now.
Well, I'm not the Secretary General of the TUC and therefore leading organized labor. But if by my standard, if I were to be in charge, one single person that will be sacked by any company, even if it's not GIHOC, will re-solidarize with that person until the person is reinstated. The country will come to a standstill. That is what we meant by solidarity. Coincidentally, today we were working on a program to be run for people, for PhD in labor studies by one of the universities, and we were talking about similar things. Clearly, what it is that we don't know what we are about. We must have a paradigm shift in our thinking. Everybody must recognize that we are about to commit self-suicide. Everybody, because we openly can see that the water is being polluted. We have no choice than to drink it the way Ghana Water pump it for us. But it's suicidal. And so we are, all of us, the 30-something million people, have conspired and agree with government to enable you to commit suicide. We should go ahead and do it. The consequences, you will pay for it between you and God. That's as simple as that.
Osingame, appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Osingame is a labor consultant joining us on this.
Let's stay a bit longer on this, but right now from the courts, because the Accra Circuit Court 6 has granted a 20,000 cedi bail with 2 sureties to 11 more Democracy Hub protesters, including Raphael Williams and Fanny Otu. In court today, prosecution led by State Attorney Nana Akosua-Akusi explained the absence of Fanny Otu, who had been sick and had been on admission since the commencement of the case. Now, lawyers for the protesters praised the court for their bail applications to be considered, citing deteriorating health conditions of their client. They also noted that another protester, an asthmatic, had been shuffling in and out of the hospital due to failing health. Now, after considering the statements, presiding judge Kobina Obri-Yabua granted a 20,000 cedi bail with 2 sureties each for the protesters. They are to reappear before the court on October 14. Meanwhile, arrested Democracy Hub protesters continue to complain of suspected inhumane treatment meted out to them whilst in police cells. They spoke to Joseph Armstrong Alugbe shortly before the hearing of their case this afternoon.
To courts, and you can see Vomawa leading them, and I can see many more of them coming down. So we will engage with 2 of them and find out how the feeling is like in the cells. Vomawa. People, how's it like in the cell?
Ghana is worth my freedom.
What have you to say? power to the people. Allow me.
Charlie, it's not easy.
Is it like how is it?
Cell. 2 weeks in cell. It's damn bad. Damn bad.
We are not robbers.
How can they lock us up? 2 weeks in cell.
What the fuck? We all deserve our rights.
We do apologize for some of those words from the protesters who spoke to us a bit earlier. Lord Adwasare is our court correspondent. He joins us live on the line. Lord, what more can you tell us from what's happening?
Right, so basically the total of 30 Democratic Hub protesters were granted bail today at the circuit court. Oliver Barker-Vormawor's case came up again as his lawyers tried to move for his bail application to be granted by the court, but the judge hearing the matter went to the same challenge or issue which was raised at the High Court yesterday. He indicated that this is a case where Oliver Barker-Vormawor already has a treason felony charge and he committed another crime, filed on bail from the other offense. And so there's no surety that he would not, or there's no assurance that he would not repeat same if granted bail. And so he was refused bail even before the lawyers could move the motion. The judge advised the lawyers that they need to come again, put their house in order and come and convince the court as to why he should be granted the bail because of these challenges. Now, quite apart from that, another protester by name Grace Asantua, a bench warrant has been issued for her, and so she wasn't even in court today because she's apparently on the run. So aside these two individuals, all the other Democratic protesters have been granted bail as we speak, Beatrice. Despite this, however, none of them have gone home as of yet because of administrative issues regarding their bail conditions, and so they've still been taken back to the police custody until their bail conditions are met.
Yes, Lord, I need clarity. Did you say that Barker-Vormawor was denied bail for a second time?
We can't call it denying bail, but before his lawyers could move the motion for his bail application, the judge indicated that his case was peculiar and cited the situation at the High Court yesterday, which is that he already has a case pending and he committed another offense. And so the judge advised them to put their house in order, file their disclosures, and come and convince the court as to why he should be granted bail before that will be done.
Any
because
reaction?
The lawyers were making the argument that per the directive from the High Court, the Circuit Court is supposed to start the trial within 72 hours, after which they may consider his bail application. But there's a situation that they said that the prosecution or the state attorneys had filed additional disclosures and they had just served them. So they indicated that there's no way that they will be able to hear the case within the 72 hours because they now have to study the documents that have been filed by the prosecution.
But was there any immediate reaction from his lawyers?
Well, this was the argument made by the lawyers. And after the judge indicated that they need to put their house in order, they just agreed to it and they said they'll go back and then put their house in order. And so at the next agenda date, we're expecting that they'll try and convince the court to how or why Vormawor should be granted bail, despite the fact that he committed some offenses, though on bail on bail on another charge.
Thank you very much, Lord Adwasare. He's our court correspondent. We stay at the court, but on a different issue, because the Chief Justice is under pressure from the proponents and individuals in support of the anti-LGBTQI bill to immediately resolve pending cases. They took to the streets of the capital city, Accra, today and demanded answers. The demonstrators petitioned the Chief Justice to expedite the case. Sam George Nete is one of the proponents of the bill. And we'll bring you that quite shortly. You're still here on Her Tradition on 3FM 92.7.
Let's get on to the telephone now and quickly we'll have a quick conversation on this matter. Adam Senano is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, but the most important for this particular match. Here's the convener for the Advocates for Christ, Mensano. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we saw the numbers today. You think that it was good enough to have sent that clear message you wanted to do so today?
Yes, it was. On midweek, it's very difficult to get people to aggregate, take time off their schedules at a time that the economy is not doing well. So we're really appreciative of the many Ghanaians who showed up, drivers, market women, lawyers, many people. So we are happy about that.
See, and so beyond or after today, what next?
Well, we're waiting to see what the actions the Chief Justice takes. Perhaps the judiciary have not recognized it, but they are under the microscope. Last week, the Attorney General made very profound statements when he said, listen, even the 140 Galamsey cases could be cleared within a month. And he said that knowing full well that the Chief Justice and the judges are closed with discretionary power to insist that lawyers submit and file documentation within specific time frames. The question on our mind is, why has our Chief Justice and why have the judges over the years failed to use these powers to ensure that cases are heard and done with expeditiously? That is how the third arm of government can work, as it were, to fulfill the welfare of the people of this country, and not to tell us that they have a certain procedure, which means they sit and wait. It really doesn't make sense. If you give the lawyers 2 weeks, and it's 10 weeks since that order for them to file in 2 weeks was exceeded, how come nobody's taking any action? How does that serve the best interest of this country? Would that work in any other industry? Is that the service for which we are paying them? That cannot be the case.
Well, but you hear yesterday, for instance, the Judicial Service addressed a press conference indicating that for them, in fact, they have done their job and it is the parties to this case.
Absolutely not. That's the point we are making. You have the power to insist that lawyers file either within a certain timeline or you strike out those cases. What's the point of giving all the lawyers 2 weeks from 17th July, and when they had not filed by the end of July, we are waiting for 8 weeks? That's why cases travel 3 years, 5 years, and they are not serving the best interest as the third arm of government by doing that. That rule ought to change. And in any case, we do know, for example, in the election petition cases, the judiciary were able to tell all lawyers, you do this within this time frame or else you will have no case. And the lawyers followed. So we all know globally that the judges have extraordinary discretionary powers that can be exercised to make cases heard. That is the point Honorable Godfrey Dami was making to the Chief Justice last week. That, look, these 140 cases could even be dealt with a month, and he called it reasonable. We are now 10 weeks after this case was first heard. So please, they should not tell us that they've done their part. That kind of story. We expect the third arm of government to be alive and active to its responsibility. Give timelines to all the lawyers. And don't just do it for this case. Do it in all other cases. Let's be pragmatic about service to the people of this nation.
Mensano, appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.
Adam Mensano is the co-chair for the convener of the Advocates for Christ. Let's take a listen to Samuel Nati George, a member of parliament for the Ningo Propon constituency, one of two architects of the demonstration earlier today.
We are mindful of the extraordinary discretionary powers bestowed on you, the Chief Justice, and judges of the Supreme Court in general, which have been exercised, for example, during election petition hearings, specifically where the CJ has provided explicit instructions to lawyers to do their filing strictly within specified time frames for hearing to be completed in time. This position is further buttressed by the comments of the Attorney General, Godfrey Dami, to the judiciary last week, that 1 month is reasonable time for all the outstanding 140 galamsey cases to be dispensed with, if judges were to act expeditiously. And this is just one case of immense national interest, and we have crossed 10 weeks, and we are still counting. Consequently, we, the proponents of the Pro-Family Values Bill, together with the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values, the Advocates for Christ Ghana, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, the Methodist Church of Ghana, the Catholic Church of Ghana, the Assemblies of God Ghana, the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council Ghana, Perez Chapel International, Royal House Chapel International, present here, traditionalists, the Muslim Ummah, led under His Eminence, the Chief Imam of the Republic, and all other Christian ecumenical bodies and groups across the nation, including Arise Ghana and Concerned Drivers Union, petition you as follows. 1, to please, and we plead, schedule hearings for the two aforementioned cases immediately as a matter of urgency within the next 2 weeks, so that the cases can be determined. 2, to take steps to ensure that the rulings on these cases are readily available to feed into the completion of the national legislative processes by Justice Yoni Kolendi, stating the position of the Supreme Court on LGBTQI and homosexuality in August this year. He pleads that the Chief Justice, a mother, a Christian, a preacher of the gospel, and a judge of the Supreme Court would fully appreciate and understand the grave implications of not acting timeously on this matter. Article 1.1 of the 1992 Constitution refers that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of government are to be exercised. We hope that the Chief Justice will act expeditiously. God bless you. God bless our homeland Ghana.
Oh, that's Samuel Nate George there earlier today. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and Beyond. We're back with the business news. Bismarck Awusa is here right after this quick break. Stay with us.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Awusa. Coming up tonight, economist Professor John Gachi dreads impact of IMF bailout in shielding Ghana from economic volatility following staff-level agreement reached for next tranche of bailout fund. Thanks for your company. Now to our very first story. The Dean of the UCC Business School, Professor John Gachi, has warned Ghanaians to temper their expectations regarding the next tranche of the IMF bailout. While Ghana has received $1.2 billion from the $3 billion extended credit facility, Professor Gachi expressed concern over the lasting impact on the economy, noting that inflation, although lowered, may remain volatile in the coming months. Ghana is expected to receive an additional $320 million from the IMF.
I think we have received about 1.2 billion already. That has not brought about dramatic change in the economy. We are, however, grateful that we have seen some uptake in the area of the growth. But that is just the beginning. And we know that the growth in the country is undulating. So that will be the nature of the growth. So that does not mean that we'll see a consistent growth, and that growth will remain on path for a long period of time. So it's not something that we should say that we have arrived. We know the exchange rate when the IMF program came on board. We can say that it has worsened. We need to look at that because that actually affects everything that we do in the country. We have seen inflation gone down, but there are signs that it will be undulating henceforth because of development in the fiscal environment. So I do not think that we should make so much noise around that. Of course, from government point of view, you want to say that you have chopped something that is beyond your expectation.
And that was economist Professor John Gachi. Meanwhile, the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana says it looks forward to the fund addressing the persistent depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. According to president of the group, David Kwejo Amoatin, his outfit will continue to pass on any additional cost of production to consumers in the unlikely event of high cost of trading due to the cedi's depreciation.
As traders, we are expecting that it comes in and brings down the cedi dollar that is reducing strength each day and night on the market scene. It is our prayer that whatever trend that comes in now would actually come and change the market trends in terms of cedi dollar relationship. If only they will use it to, curtail the situation a little bit down. Because having cedis at 16.5 at this time of the year, it tells you that Ghanaians are still going to be in more difficulty. Because traders will not back down. Definitely price hikes cannot be taken out of our decisions. We will have to move up as the dollar keep on going.
And that was president of the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, David Kwejo Amoatin. Before we go, economist Professor Peter Korte is calling on the government to prioritize prompt payments to businesses that have successfully completed government contracts. Speaking at the quarterly Economic Roundtable Forum organized by the Ministry of Finance and the University of Ghana, he revealed that Ghana has the longest contract payment delays in the sub-region. He warned that these delays have led to the collapse of many businesses and are causing ongoing hardships for others.
It takes longer days for SMEs to get paid, and for small ones, because they are small firms, the amount involved is smaller, so they are likely to be paid much earlier than for medium and large scale firms. And over 129 days for your whatever to be paid, that's almost about 4 months. That's going to cripple your business if you have to lock up your capital. Sometimes even the time it takes to follow up and get payment itself can be very frustrating. You cannot plan. So I really thought it would be good for the minister to see and know that if we want to tackle the problem of finance, that's not the only way, the only challenge facing the SMEs, but also when the SMEs do business for government, they have to be paid. Because if you don't pay them, it has a knock-on effect on other businesses, on their suppliers, on their employees, or even interest payment on outstanding loans, etc.
And that was economist Professor Peter Korte ending the business segment on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.com. Sports is next, please stay.
good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We're just a couple of days away from the big game between Ghana and Sudan at the Accra Sports Stadium for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. It's match day 3 and the Black Stars know that they have to get 3 points at home given that they drew against Niger and then lost against Angola. Heading into the game, General Manager for Sport of Media General Michael Otieje believes that Otto Addo needs to find a way of getting the best out of his players.
Do generally with Otto Addo getting the best out of the players. It's not an Otto Addo problem, it's a Ghana problem. It's been there for a very long time, but it's to face it as soon as possible. Too many players come into the national team and then are unable to replicate their club form to this level. So in the last qualifiers, Mohamed Salisu looked a bit on and off, and then Abdul Mumin make that closer error that led to the goal by the Angolans. But these are two players who have had great seasons so far in the Spanish La Liga and in the French top flight. Then there is the inevitable question of Antoine Semenyo. Brilliant. Look at the goal he scored the last time, weaving through defenders and finding the bottom corner. He's been one of Bournemouth's best players, one of the informed players in the English Premier League. But he comes to Ghana and you can't get the same impact. Nobody signifies that than Inaki Williams, who has one goal in his Ghana career, but who this season has goals, he has assists. He's shown great leadership with Atletico Bilbao. And I think every Ghana football fan, when they watch him every weekend set up a goal or score a goal, the big question is, can he do it for the Black Stars? It's now the job of Otto Addo to make that happen against Kwesi Appiah. Kwesi Appiah, who knows Ghana football inside out, who knows this team inside out, and who will give Ghana 2 very difficult matches on Thursday and on Tuesday.
Well, so the match is inching ever closer and the players are preparing specifically ahead of that game. Elisha Owusu, who's part of the squad, has been speaking to 3 Sports. Now, so far, 23 players have reported to training an improvement on the number, which was around 11 on Monday. So 23 of them trained on Tuesday. Elisha Owusu was part of the first set of players who reported to the Accra Sports Stadium on Monday. Now, he believes that the team is trying their best with regards to preparations, and then after which we'll hear his verdict on the pitch.
We know that it's a very important game for us. We didn't have a good game against the other team we play. I know that it's going to be very difficult for us, but we're going to stay together and make our best to win these 2 games. We feel blessed to be here in Accra. I know that all the country are behind us, and we do our maximum to put a good performance for everybody.
Also, that was Elisha on the performance, but there's been a lot of talk concerning the state of the Accra Sports Stadium pitch. Elisha Owusu believes that the pitch has been massively improved upon.
It was good. I will not lie to you, the pitch was quite good, and you had an amazing training today, so we're really happy that everybody are doing the thing to help us play better football, and now it's on us to put the performance, like I said.
And so that was Elisha Owusu saying that the team has a lot of work to do with regards to how they play. Now he says that work has been done on the pitch and the onus really lies on them with regards to the performances. But let's go back to the last international break. Ghana scored just 1 goal, and that was by Alidu Seidu in the game against Niger, which ended 1-1. Now the Rennes fullback has been speaking to 3 Sports and says that despite scoring in that game, he believes that the Black Stars could have done better with their performance.
First, I shoot, but the coach told me the keeper, he pushes a lot of the balls when he shoots. So when I got the ball, I just see like I had space, so I just shoot I tried, I tried to score, but I tried, so yeah, it went in. I was so happy. It's true we didn't get what we want, but for me, I scored and I'm very happy. Yeah. I think it was a match where we didn't start good. The match, we lost a lot of balls. So when I scored, I wasn't happy because I know we could do better. Before I scored, I know we could do better. So when we scored 1 and playing Africa, even if you play in Niger or I don't know, it can change anytime. So if it was the second goal we had, I would have been, but 1-0, I was like, we have to get second goal so that I'll be more assured, But yeah, it's normal. I wasn't happy because I lost some balls that I know it was easy balls, so I wasn't happy for myself. Yeah.
So that was Alidu Seidu speaking in a yet-to-be-aired exclusive interview on TV3. That would be much later this week. My name is Aurelio Kwampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. You can get some more sports stories on our social media handles at 3SportsGH.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported.
All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
Imagine a place where voices matter, where every corner, every street, every community is a platform.
A big bus moving through Accra, carrying conversations, questions, and the pulse of the nation. This is not just another show, it's your voice on the move.
Join us as 3FM Sunrise hits the road, turning ordinary streets into platforms for extraordinary dialogue. Speak freely, listen deeply, and help shape the conversation that drives Ghana forward.
Look out for the bus and tune in exclusively on 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM. Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Thank you very much, Aurelio Kwampofo, for bringing us the latest in sports. Of course, as well as Bismarck Awusa, who came in earlier with business. And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And this is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. On Campaign Trail tonight, let's start from Nigeria, because the country's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, says Ghana cannot lose its place as the pace setter of Africa's democracy. During an engagement with the Election Security Task Force in Accra ahead of this year's general election, the former Nigerian president made a case for the country to build on its thriving democracy and eschew violence in this electioneering period. The former Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan, is in Ghana under the auspices of the West African Elders Forum, comprising former African leaders. Listen to exactly what he said.
When we conduct election poorly, it snowballs into all kinds of conflicts across the continent. And we felt at the West African level, we should set up a body of former heads of government who should work. We're not a part of ECOWAS, we're an autonomous body. But we should also work to help what ECOWAS is doing to bring down issues of conflict in West Africa. If you go to a country, we interact with all class of people. And the first question I used to ask is that, do you have confidence in the Electoral Commission? If the citizens say they have confidence in the Electoral Commission, then you smile. Then do you have confidence in the security system? If they tell you, yes, we have confidence in the security system, then you can, in fact, take your coffee and disappear. But where they say one thing or the other in these two institutions, then you know that you have a work to do. And that is why we're here. Because when one country goes down, a country like Ghana steps down, it will be a major crisis in ECOWAS and it will affect the rest of Africa. So we want the best for the elections in Ghana, and that is why we're here.
You heard the former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan. The Inspector General of Ghana's Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, was also there. Listen to what he said.
Over the years, we used to plan from the point of view of security towards our election as an event. But in recent times, we have institutionalized and mainstream election security in our all operations. We want to assure you, the good people of Ghana, the good people of West Africa, the good people of Africa, and our friends across the world, that once again, we will come out of this as a strong nation, an election that has been peaceful, an election that everybody will accept that, yes, it is better than the previous one in terms of all the efforts that we are putting in to ensure that we get that.
And you heard that the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, now the NDC Vice Presidential candidate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has also asked voters to rally behind their preferred presidential and parliamentary candidate in this year's campaign season, devoid of insults.
Attending no fashiama me fashiama me sisiu and I want kwato ama we ya metu efimi dan mu santi ase no ense yi firi ho no bi ate ne ho ase se mpuntu na beba no sabe wo dan rura no so ba wo benya bi ana ono kra no benya ne kese enti ese nyina yete ho ase enti ekono mpuntu line ye nko be bia bio na nyina ye nte ase sa ni e ma somdwe ma ye kuro yi mu ye ko abato nyentokwa enya me so chewo enya me na me ni nyina hu hia ye se ye pese mpuntu eba na obi anya na setena mu pa na ode tena ho ode ye na dwuma bia anya me de adom no so no so mra wi asem no ma meye enti ebusuafo asomdwe na mpese metimo kese enya ntokwa enya me di watem enya me na ma no odin the enya politics ne baby ko egu ye ni mase ana ameboa wa mami ana papa panimu dadam na otesa wo kasasa me na ma no odin checheche edede na bae amfa hwea ene ye nyina obi beka na asem ene ye wo no chena so e je de abese nko no yes ye pese eko.
You heard that the NDC's running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, in summary, in what she said in Tree, that this electioneering period should be devoid of insults. We stay on election-related matters, and with less than 60 days to the crucial December elections, the Electoral Commission has earned a major endorsement from the West African Elders Forum. After an initial assessment, the team, led by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, whose voice you heard some minutes ago, expressed strong confidence in the EC's readiness to conduct a transparent and orderly election, silencing doubt about the Commission's capacity. Noble Cosby Annan is there. He joins us live on the line. Cosby, just bring us more information regarding this. Hello, Crosby, we can hear you.
just like you rightly put, Beatrice, going into the December 7 elections, there's been the need for a pre-election assessment team, and it is made up of some West African leaders. It is called the West African Elders Forum, and this one is led by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan. They are in the country visiting some stakeholders, major stakeholders in the 2024 general elections. For instance, yesterday the team paid a visit to the office of the former President John Dramani Mahama. You know, the NDC, they have had concerns with the Electoral Commission, particularly about the voters register. And at that meeting, John Dramani Mahama, who was slammed by his General Secretary and the Director of Elections of the NDC, they made it clear to the forum elders led by Goodluck Jonathan the concerns that they have with the Electoral Commission, the pushing of the Electoral Commission, the membership of the Electoral Commission. They went as far as the appointment of the membership of the the composition of the Electoral Commission itself. That meeting was a closed-door meeting. Today, the forum led by Goodluck Jonathan, they have, amongst others, visited the Inspector General of Police, the IGP, also as part of gauging or assessing the levels of preparedness of the security agencies for the 2024 general elections. And after that, they made their way to engage the Electoral Commissioner and the deputies of the Electoral Commissioner. At the end of the meeting, Goodluck Jonathan was emphatic that based on the explanations and the engagement they have had with the Electoral Commission, they have no doubt the Commission is adequately prepared and ready to do what is right come December 7th. For Madam Jean Mensah, this, if you like, is a testament to the Commission's preparedness for the elections 2024, something they have maintained for a very long time, that they are ready, they are poised to ensure a smooth electoral process. So this endorsement, if you like, coming from somebody like Goodluck Jonathan from the West Forum means that the Commission is on the right track, and Ghanaians should be confident that they will be able to deliver a credible and a smooth election on December 7, Beatrice.
Demonstrated to the public that they were poised and ready to undertake credible, transparent, peaceful and fair elections come December 2020.
Well, you heard the Electoral Commission Chairperson Jean Mensah. We do apologize for the poor quality of the sound earlier. You heard our reporter Noble Crosby Annan, who has been monitoring this meeting going on at the Electoral Commission. And that's it for Campaign Trail on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And that's it for Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. I did this with Alfred Ocansey. Log on to shrinews.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.